All right, I think we're finally done.
Well, it's about time.
It didn't take that long to set up.
Really, it took over an hour.
Well, at least we're ready to play.
You do realize it's already time to clean up before dinner.
I guess I'm gonna have to build my own table. Hello and welcome to Crafts from the Round Table. Today I will show you how I made my custom made table out of regular 2x4s, piece of plywood, and a couple pieces of pine. It's a very simple design, but it's an expandable design. I know I could have bought a table or went on Craigslist to find a table. I tried those. They were big dining room tables that had chairs and everything. And they were oval, some were round, some were almost square, some were rectangle. It wasn't anything to where I wanted it to be expandable. So I had to come up with my own design. So this is how I'll show you how I built mine. You could make one same way or make one better, make one worse, however you want to do it. Like I said, I'm not a carpenter, but I did the best I can, and I'll go over how I built it. So let's take a look. I started out with 11 2x4s, and right off the bat I split 5 2x4s in half. So I took 2x4s, 2x4, and split it right down the middle. So you end up with 2 pieces of 2x4x8s, and did 5 of those right out of the bat. And I'll show you what we do with those. I had 5 regular 2x4s, and 1 2x4 I actually cut into quarters. So I took half and then half of these. So 1 2x4 actually made quarters. So let's go over the leg design for the table. Okay, to build the leg structures here, what I did was I took a 2x4 and 2x4s and cut 4 pieces at 32 inches and 4 pieces at 29 inches. It's this piece and this piece. Then I cut 4 pieces 12 inches, 45, 45. Those make nice corner braces. So that'll give you your 4 legs. And then this cross beam is a 2x4, and that is 40 inches. So 40-inch cross beam, 2 of those. 4 pieces at 32, 4 pieces at 29. These are screwed together, screwed together, screwed together. And this rests on top of this beam to give really good support. We'll go over this later. That was an add-on that I had to actually do later on to add more support to the deck boards that are coming off of here. So once I had my leg pieces all assembled, I was ready to put my top pieces on. So let's go over those next. Next, what I did with my pieces of 2x4 that I had cut in half, I had to cut 4 of these pieces to go across the top. And these are 48 inches. So that's 4 half pieces by 48 inches. And then I'll show you what that's used for. Then what I did is with the half pieces again, I cut 4 of these pieces at about 38 inches. So what these do is these will actually be my supports for my end board, for my end pieces. And we'll see that in a minute. And these can slide in and out. So once I had my 4 pieces secured, I double screwed each one onto the 2x4 going across on the legs. For extra support along the bottom, I added these braces here. I could have also done the 45s here, but I had the wood here. These were the 2x4s that I cut into quarters, and then it's just going across the length here, which is 48 inches. So that's a quarter piece of 2x4, 48 inches on both sides, this side and that side, to give the whole structure extra strength. So it's pretty sturdy. Next was a sheet of plywood. Actually, I believe this was a sheet of maple. I got it for free. Friend had some extra sheets left over. So it is 3/4, or whatever the equivalent is nowadays to 3/4 maple, which is nice and smooth, so it's going to look nice when it's painted. There's a couple spots I have to fill in with putty, but I pretty much have a 4-foot by 4-foot piece, and then 2 pieces that are roughly 4 foot by 2 feet, minus the saw blade thickness. So this is the 4x4, and then the side pieces were cut off of there, the 2 side pieces, roughly 4x2. And fasten on the top. Now what I did for the 2 end pieces, these are the 4x2 pieces of plywood that were cut off of the main sheet. I took my half pieces of 2x4 and cut 2, 4, 6, 8 pieces at roughly 24 inches. And these are aligned with the 2 slots that are on the inside here. So I'll show you that in a second. You can see that these pieces are aligned with these pieces in here, because those runners are going to run through here and through here on both sides, and this is the same mirrored on the other side. So when I put these on, I had to make sure that they were the same distance from here to here and here and here. So my plywood hangs over about 2 3/4 from the inside leg. It's a nice extension on the sides, and it's flush on both sides there. So it was easy to line these up by just laying it on here, drawing lines, and then screwing these pieces on. What I also did was I attached these clasps, because when I did the first design, these weren't too steady, so I had to add these clasps. And on the bottom part here, there's the other latch. So this is the locking latches on both sides. Here's a little closer look at the lining up of these. And that's here, on that side, on this side, and this side. So, and these clasps you line up bottom here, here, on all four sides. And then across the front end of each one, I added this piece of pine, which is roughly an inch by 3.5 inch piece of pine across the front here. And that's actually what holds the rails in, and plus the end extension pieces that I'll show you next. So pretty simple. Pretty simply, you take these pieces that we cut from before and you put them in like this. This one here was always a little tight. And then I take my pieces like this. And voila. Now that'll work on both sides. So when I had the table all built and finished and the extensions on, I noticed that, if I leaned on the table, I didn't like how all the support was on those half a 2x4s through each half there. So I later added on braces. So I took my half 2x4 again and I cut 4 pieces like this with 45s on both sides, and that was cut to about 27 and a half on the inside of the 45. And then what I did on the legs was I put these little pieces here that are about 3 inches or so, and those are about roughly 9 inches from the bottom. So what this does is it actually gives the unit more support. And then actually sits inside this piece here. I'm going to do that on both sides. It gives it a lot more support. Now, that gives it a lot more support if I lean on it now to get in, move my terrain around. So I did that on both sides. Now the last pieces that I built were for the ends, and all that really is I took my quarter pieces, 2 quarter pieces by, should be 48. Yep, so it's 2 quarter pieces by 48. I have 4 of those, and then these little supports are the half pieces of 2x4, and those are 10 inches each, so 4 of those. And then this is actually oak, because I had this left over from another project, but you could use pine, and that's 1 inch by 5.5, so 1 inch by 6, and that's 48. So you can make, I was going to make these bigger for the ends, but this is what I had, so that's what I use. So, and then these are, you line these up so they're on the insides here. So mine wound up being about 9.5 inches in on both sides. And what this does is then this slides in like this on the end. This one's a little tight. So it gives a nice end piece. And the nice thing about this is when you take these pieces out, this will fit in here on this part. I'll show you that next. So this is the completed table. It's just about 8 feet long minus 2 cuts basically. Or you could take one piece out and then it's roughly 6 feet. Or you can take both pieces out and then it's 4 feet. So it's a nice variable table for whatever you need. Big war, small war, smaller war. So this is it at 8 feet, full extension. And it's pretty strong enough. It's strong enough for tabletop gaming. So here's the table at 4 feet with the 2 end pieces on. It's a nice finished look. I also was toying with the idea of putting pieces along the side here. Give it a nice finished look like this. I might do that too, I don't know yet. Because then I would have to extend those on the end pieces too. So I don't know. But the next step after this, shore it up, make sure everything's all nice and tight, and then paint it. I think I'm going to paint the whole thing black. So that'll be the next step, painting it all black.